Worlds of Siege, Parker and Kix.
Kix and Parker, indeed.
Also,
yeah.
and Veli.
Veli as well.
Also got a nomination. And then some other, apparently there's other games that have esports scenes.
Yeah, I've never known that. I thought we were the
known.
only one, but
No.
apparently... Well, question today will here be, will T1 finally pick up their first win out of a streak of very long losses? Also, something I wondered, did Jess just say that her only French she knew was bag of croissants? Oh, baguette. I thought she said bag. Oh well, either way, we're gonna get underway. The Thatcher has been banned and the Monty will soon follow as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally how it seems to go. Taken off, removed, dispatched.
Yeah.
It's early.
It is very early.
Valkyrie is off as well. Okay, let's get into this. And I think one of the things to note in the top left, that's a lot of L's you're holding there, Chief.
Yeah.
T1, it's not been great, but it never really has. So in a weird way, it's some of the best not been great that they've ever gone through, which is a strange sentence and one of those sort of, in a way, depressing sentences, but it's shown growth. It's just always this worry of, is it too little too late? And now they're going up against a team that has always sort of been around the middle of the pack, but this split has been just so sharp and so aggressive and dangerous. And that's the worry, is it's not that Guts have sort of fallen into wins or fallen into successes, it's that they've taken them.
Yeah, that's it. They've taken him in spectacular fashion as well. Just that 1v3 clutch we saw 2 days ago from Mariu, for example. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, if they win here today, if they get 3 points, then next week we'll decide who will be the winner of APAC North, really. That is what it could be coming down to in the end there. So, a lot at stake here. They're against arguably the easiest opponent that we have in APAC North right now. It's no shame. T1 hasn't really been able to find the points yet. But, as you said, the improvement is there. And they will still play the relegations as there is no auto relegation. So who knows, they might have just been saving strats, something we have alluded to before. As you could see in their own regional leagues as well, have been able to pick up quite some points against stronger opponents. I believe they even managed to beat Mantis a bit earlier on. Could be mistaken there, T1 beating Mantis.
They're running the numbers, Chief.
They're running the numbers for me.
But it's also one of the things that we need to talk about with Guts, is it was sort of cited about them that although they were in first, that they'd only really taken easy opponents. In the words of other people, no, we've got...
It was not. It was
you're wrong.
Team that beat
you swung and you missed.
I went for the attempt.
You went for the attempt. But Guts Gaming proved otherwise with their most recent victory. They were able to take one of those cited as a top teams, and they showed them what for, what's what, and this is what Guts wanted to do with this pace. And here, on paper...
T1 did beat Mantis.
Oh.
5-7. Yes, this stage, not in APAC North, in their National League. I'm just fighting with Jess right now because we're talking about the National League. Either way, we're getting back underway. It's 0-0 still. First round. The action phase just barely started, 30 seconds, and that means that information needs to be gathered. Try and figure out how the attack needs to take shape. And for now, E1Ds are popping potentially to guide some of these players in at the bottom floor. There's Mariu really busy and trying to get the drone in to make sure that Solarium will be safe.
Now, as Yura is going to loop his way around for the potential of a West main take here at the top of those deep underneath trench stairs, he's going to play a little bit steadier. There is these angles, these sort of holes, and that's what he's going to try and dig out. The potential of grenades is always a danger around this sort of core in the corner of the map. To be fair, it is in general anyway, but here it starts, it's pummeling. You can either sort of take it on this flat approach from the Solarium windows and see if you can hook them round towards the body in the bathroom and force them out that way, or go underneath. We sometimes see teams try to catch them through the soft on the opposite side. The castle's going to give Arakazi a little bit more safety, holding on to that with the Aruni gate doubling down and taking any of the chance of the explosives leading to it. Here's those grenades underneath I talked about. Neither is able to catch that body, and this is a lot of time to find one core player.
That will bounce back a little bit too far. Sarakazi was in a very safe spot there. Indestructible flooring right underneath him. His light spot center player here goes for a gunfight. Crazy boy. He's not going to be able to land any shots himself. Just takes a little bit, but is alive. Another blind goes through JJ. And then he should take himself in right beyond the bed. Now Arakazi has no way to try and challenge that because the castle barricade. He cannot simply peek around the back. The plant is down. 45 seconds. And Crazy Boy will be the first victim.
An opening diffuser goes down, and suddenly so does a lot of players. PJH is underneath being called. The cover comes from Arakaze. A big take, looking for the second on Solarium Stairs. It was Guts Gaming clearing a space, and that is all that they needed. A trade to lock it out there as the sprays come through, and you've sort of got to give credit there to Guts. I mean, they struggled to lock out the kill, but that didn't stop them, which it would have stopped a lot of other teams if they didn't have the confidence to sort of push themselves in without the confirmation of that body going down on the connector between piano and bathroom. They still went for it. They trusted the guns that were on the cover of the box and on the rotation of the bathroom, and it came through for them.
And definitely, like, you know, you already had that small box covered, so there was no way he would be walking out that door. And if you would have gone back further, there was a castle barricade that would have just stopped him from running out into the bathroom to try and open it, or try and get the kill into the diffuser. So really nothing there on T1's side to try and stop it once it did go down. And that means they're swapping sides now. Realized as well that we're not going to be running it back. Bar Gaming will be the next choice. Let's see how that one will work out instead. It's a bit more of a default hold, you dare to say, or at least hope to assume. Shields, of course, at the top on Fireplace and, you know, the library stairs to make sure that you have these power positions into play. You can even take it to the next level if you want to play like Fnatic and, you know, Tex mainly, who freely rotates around the rotation that just have been created by Arakaze. Oh, it wasn't a rotation. Is it? Yeah, it is. Small one. Very, is it? No, that's not.
No, that's not a rotation.
Maybe Mozzie will fit through it, but that's about it.
Mozzie could do a flip through that.
Yeah.
All the space in the world for the little man with the drones, but he's not on the board. He's not allowed in for this competition instead. We have ourselves with these angles being held, and that's that extension you get on the top floor. It's often, you know, when you're in the game and you're talking to players who aren't quite aware of the comp balance of Chalet, it's why do you not go down to the basement? It's because you can't have those holds. You can't have those extensions. That you don't get offered the ability to play into what is a strong meta right now in Siege, which is sightlines, which is huge angles and sort of extending the firefights and breaking it up with Aruni gates and castles to try and limit the intense utility that could come in over your shoulders. Here, talking of long firefights, this is the catch. They're going to see if they can dig out the body on the rafters, on the catwalk first. Almost does. 11 suffers massively, but is able to pull himself back in.
Yeah, he's lucky that he didn't lose his life there. However, JJ the first one to fall. Andre Frag will be here for T1. Arakaze able to pick that one up. Pressure's coming down though. However, PJ tries to go aggressive, but not be able to land a shot. Yeah, grenades are soon to be tossed in, I believe. At least they want to waste the magnets and the ADSs first. It's an aggressive peek to come through, but it's PJ completely blind. Grenade will follow up shortly. ADS is, however, active again, and we'll be catching that first grenade. Potentially the second. No, that will land right on top of him. Beautiful nade coming in by Mariu there. Bypassing both of them, and then it's 11 down as well.
So those two positions that they've just locked out one after the other, unless 11 can crawl to that hatch and drop, which to be fair at this rate, he should be able to. Arakaze is waiting, hands in, the drone. Mariu's about to spot it, but Fanxy saves the life, steps up into the mantle because, as I said, those two positions, the start of the point is they depend on each other. They need the other person to survive here. Fanxy is going to suffer so much pressure. He's probably going to wait until the shield gets popped just to give them some force on the use utility, but I do not expect him to try and stay and hold this for too long, because as soon as the rafters goes, as soon as that window drops, okay, he's proven me wrong, takes the first fight, sprays towards the second, there's not the pickup. Maybe he's just going to stick it out and see if he can bury himself in. It's still dangerous, but it's a risk and reward game, and he's going for full reward right now.
There's nothing they can pop the shield with anymore. No grenades, just 2 flashbangs. That's all they currently have. And those will be eaten by those ADSs out there, so you really need to find a gunfight or completely bypass this current situation, this current position that Fanxy is playing in. And he's playing in a very safe position. You can try and peek, but you really need to go from 2 at the same time, and that's exactly what Lily is doing. Coming around the corner right here, goes for the pre-fire and gets the kill. 3 on 3, 26 seconds left on that clock. Now try and work everything you have on some verticality, but there's also not much utility to start and create that.
Well, they still have a bit of a hold, more calls, and the pressure's going to come to the corridor this time. Light finds the first fight, and that's going to allow Mariu to go for the swing. Doesn't see the body on the back of the supply line, but it's up from the downstairs. That 11 pops up for the double. Arakaze locks it off. At the start of that, we saw 11 actually playing around closer towards the snowmobile stairs, but well-timed rotation, well played, and again, I thought he would fall back, but credit to the 2 players that played the shield at the top of blue. They really brought a lot of time and pressure there.
Yeah, good grenade by Meryu, but unfortunately wasn't able to get the shield, which of course allows Fangxi to take that spot into his own hands and play it himself. You know, just a second one to pop up. It is a very key position, and of course you finally fall, but you still managed to get a kill out of it in the end. 11, who was downed, was not being able to be confirmed due to Fangxi taking that spot, and at the end of the round there, managed to pick up a double kill. So great round from him as well, even though he may have had a couple of slight mistakes in the early round with his positioning. Still made up for it in the end by getting those two. 1-1. And kitchen dining is where we will go. There's multiple takes that you can go for here. You could either go for some top floor control, but looking at the current setup, there's no designated soft breach character, as in a buck or a sledge. We will have the breaching charges from JJ, potentially from Yura as well. Of course, has two of those impacts that can be used, but then the question is that going to be enough soft breach for you?
Now, can they hold in a little bit more? I really like how T1 were biting back into Guts. They were making sure that they weren't able to settle into any of their own sort of pace and any of the control that they've been able to push, and if anything, drove on the very first round. Maybe they overcorrected, pulled themselves back a little bit too far, and didn't quite take the fight when they should have, and that could have potentially led to them causing more of a problem when the plant went to go down in the bedroom. If it's a lesson that they learned on the previous round, it's time to double it up, but that's not the start. Crazy Boy suffers quite a lot in that top window as it's popped open. The castle pulls back, but dropped through a drone hole, and that's never the best way to start your trip in Chalet.
Definitely not a good way to start off. For a second there, I thought they were actually in the side already, but it was just a breaching charge that gave, of course, the effect towards, I believe it was Crazy Boy, quickly trying to run away from it. Either way, it's a 4v5. Fangxi inside the bathtub is safe from grenades from below, but of course not from them in a horizontal fashion. SPGH thinking about potentially punching in the window, also knows though the entire window will just disappear once it happens. The drone confirms the spot that he's currently in, and Yura is trying to lock off the angle together with Light, who's also holding the exact same. The pressure comes through. Light should be coming in clutch right now to try and see the feet, spots it, but he gets taken out from the window on Crazy Boy.
They were playing around that, they had the cover, and that is a big take now. Crazy Boy is caught out as he tries to rotate back round. Lily locked in on the double window, is able to down them as PJH goes for the mad run out, is able to spray and get the dash down, and suddenly everybody is falling all over the shop. 3 versus 3, but Crazy Boy is still down. Should be able to be collected as there's no one close, just behind the half wall, doesn't quite get the connection, but Yura's concerned about the cover. There it is. There it is.
Well, yeah, the cover is coming in. It's just PGH now trying to go for a long angle into the trophy. Gets tagged up and shot down from above. Yura using the own verticals they created to support the teammates against them. Make sure that he picks up that final kill. And that means Guts Gaming back in the lead up to round number 4 now. Master bedroom in the office. Again on that top floor, the first site which was originally played, but also lost by T1. Of course, the bar is still locked. We'll have to wait till after this round until they can play that again.
2 on their attacks, which is kind of the norm and kind of the standard. Generally for Chalet, you see it often go towards a little bit more of the defenders at the minute across the board, but it's always APAC, and it's 2 great aggressive teams. T1, actually, even before they had their big changes, only really ever pulled rounds on their attack because they could be led by 11 who could sort of drive them through onto the site. Here it doesn't quite have the same mantle, but it's not easy when you saw how many firefights happen in so many different places at the same time. Trying to get a handle on those trays, trying to get a handle on just when you need to apply that pressure is never easy to bring in the balance on your defense here.
Going to be easy at all, that is for sure. See if they will change their setup ever so slightly to make sure they have the opportunity to lock down potential plant beyond the bath again. The bed, not bath. Either way, maybe some verticals from below, not quite sure. You could maybe play inside the kitchen and try and stop it from happening. Maybe you need to hold on to Solarium stairs a little bit more to stop them from even getting in. But we know, of course, as well, there is opportunities to deal with that from below. Try and create an angle, then get some grenades in, together with some flashbangs to waste the ADSs, and that should be a free kill in that instance.
with a different take here and all the pace that we sort of thought we saw in the previous one. The firefight goes 11's way, and that's an instant call on the drop. Arakazi swings their way back round. Guts Gaming went for something bold here with a bit of a pace that, as I said, they can apply, but losing that opening gunfight, well, you don't want to run into 11 as the first person you see, especially with a gun like that and an angle like that. He was able to lock it off. Now, suddenly, T1 have this man advantage, and look at this. They've changed their approach. We all saw those 3 ADSs on the Solarium stairs, and they've sort of picked up, well, it's not coming that way, so let's get everything picked back up. The shield goes on the piano. They now have an entirely new support structure and an entirely stronger defense.
Yeah, they indeed realized they were not coming from the campsite, and thus will be coming from library. Means that a different kind of setup is necessary. This wall will be opened up shortly, though. There is absolutely nothing but a Mew Jammer to stop it. Of course, that Mew Jammer doesn't quite reach everything anymore, so a small opening will be created, which is going to be enough to try and get some cover on, or potentially even a grenade through to destroy that Mew Jammer to allow the Selmas to open up close behind the half-wall as well. And here you see it happening. Mariu about to be tossing that one in. Comes in close. That pops up the second Selma and allows them to continue going for the stake.
Well, Fanxy wakes back up into the world under a double window, but probably wished he hadn't, as he's instantly picked up by Lily, who yet again takes up the mantle of this. This gives them that crossfire. They can go for the support and the cover on their secondary take here. In the same way that they sort of build themselves a clarity of space and pushed in, that's kind of what they've gone through here, but it's not as comfortable. Under the shadow of the E1D, they're going to go for the plant, so they don't quite hear it. 11 has an idea that he needs to put pressure on, takes the first fight, but it's Crazy Boy that locks off JJ and puts the diffuser cold. A minute on, and they can't quite get it back as of yet, with one more sort of being secured here. PJH scratched and suffering as the fight happens all along the western front across both the piano window and the bathroom. Mariu's trying to find somebody, but T1 isn't giving them anything.
Spots ahead there, can't quite hit it. Light still has 2 1Ds left, and will be using one now to allow Mariu to get something done. The first headshot comes through, the second one as well. Mariu lands that shot. Suddenly it's a 2-on-3 situation, but the diffuser is down and there's 30 seconds left. One person will be taking care of that diffuser at some point, and that means he's not going to be active, but Lily comes through, gets the first. Arakazi now trying to hold onto that diffuser with his dear life, make sure no one is going to be able to sneak in, as the line does exactly that. Grabs that diffuser, tries and go deep, it gets taken care of. 12 seconds, and it's a frost mat from Mariu that will stop him. It's just Lily now in a one-on-one situation. The plan goes down. Is he aware of the push to come through? No, Arakazi is running all the way around, and Lily somehow still manages to get it. Had no clue that the plant was coming down. Right in that corner, and Guts win the round somehow.
Ooh, that was close. Ooh, that's one of the ones that's going to haunt you after the game. That was almost a fantastic clutch, obviously helped by the Frostmat on the far side.
Yeah.
The denial of intel, the mute jammers that were there for the entirety. They were a nuisance to clear, obviously because they didn't get the full read. It almost led to a 3 versus 1 clutch, but one person being in a position you didn't expect. They were playing it safe, they believed. They thought that the plant might happen around behind the half walls. They went to where the soft connection was at the top of the box, could just spray through, but no, alas, it was behind you. And with that, I believe we're getting a tech time out. Potentially, yes, there it is. A conversation for T1 to try and rein themselves back in, because they're close. And that's the T1 story, unfortunately. It's close, but no cigar and no real points.
Like Arakazi always has his hood up, like he's a Jedi Knight.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean,
it's enjoyable to see. Either way.
If I could on the desk, I would.
Maybe next time we have a Halloween stream, we can just become Jedis. Maybe.
Well, we weren't allowed to. We got costumes for last year, and we weren't allowed. Well, I guess the broadcast got moved. There was originally a broadcast on Halloween, and unfortunately, you and
we were the only ones as well that managed.
We really tried to convince the others, but they don't. I don't think they have.
The boring.
Yeah, they're boring. You hear us. I think if they're provided with a costume, they'll wear it.
We saw that. We saw Napoleon Des.
Napoleon Des was just art.
It fitted quite well.
It was unsettling.
Yeah.
Well. Back in, Team Talk, you're 3-1 down, and, well, the best you can hope for now is an even defense. To be fair, as I said, T1, that's not the end of the world. They can be a very good attacking team because they can sort of point their focus, and they can bring themselves to a point. Sometimes they're a little bit slow on their clear on their attacks, but on a map like Chalet, when you can sort of go for pockets of space and you don't have to really get a full clear because you know, it's more of a top-bottom. Like, it's always like a two-stroke there. It's not like Club where you've got to go all 3 floors and try and find your way down and get massive width control. Chalet's a little bit shallower. It's a little bit steeper, and that could play into T1's favor on their attacks.
All right. Let's see how this one will play out. As mentioned before, Guts, if they win this one, they basically put up the fight to next week against Mantis to decide who will be winning APAC North Division 2021 Stage 3. It's a whole mouthful, but they gladly will take it. Because if they win here today, that's 3 points, 2 matches to go. They win from Mantis after that, then suddenly it's a 3-point advantage. Of course, with the tiebreaker going their way. However, Mantis still plays Fnatic right after, and maybe Fnatic has woken up again after their 2 losses on Chalet. See how that one will go for them. Either way, still the match at hand. Round 5, action phase. We're a minute in. Guts Gaming trying to get as much control as they potentially can. They know the side is down into bar, and the struggle they had last time was the shield onto the library stairs. So is there going to be a different approach for it this time? Still the same operator setup. We do see the Ashe, however, that might actually help out as 11 takes a bit of a tag.
Yeah, seeing yet again if they can try and find this early fight. 11 is no man's step away from it. He suffered in the same way before, but this time less so. Last time he was able to crawl his way through to the hatch, but look, a slight change in adaptation. They're quicker, and they're focusing on dropping the shield. They didn't quite get it,
though. They might recharge soon. They got so much. Yeah, there you go. One of them really recharged. The second one will come in, and now they finally managed to get it. But still, so much utility used. If they were just a little bit quicker, that could have done with 2 or 3 less throwables.
But it was an important part of utility. We complimented how it was the play before. 4 T1 to pull themselves back round, and it's obviously lessons learned. 11 is so isolated. PJH doesn't have much to work behind here. If he gets swung on, well, he's just got to take the fight, and he does. Stepped up, traded. Meryu gets the pick back up over the swing round on the double piano door. Another call comes out. They're trying to now isolate the single player who has really nowhere to go but a hop over the top. That's locked, so has to just try and slip through. Couldn't quite make it.
Good position there from Lily, able to pick up that kill is really going to be helpful. 3 on 4. It's a 1-man advantage, but Fanxi is thinking about going for a potential flank, and that could be coming out quite big if it succeeds. Still a player below, though, inside the pantry. JJ again taking a bit of a tag as Fanxi tries to come back, and Crazy Boy manages to pick up 1. There's going to be more breaching charges to be deployed here to try and get some extra lines aside as Meryu picks up yet another kill.
Meryu screaming through the chalet right now, able to find 1 more, but you look at 20 seconds left, and Arakazi's going to put himself into the default plant spot and see if he can get a cheeky swing round with the other connecting player playing on the connector. Crazy Boy's trying to buy as much time as possible. 10 seconds left. And finally they find the trade, and suddenly it's a 1 versus 1. They know where he is. Behind the half full, but it's Arakazi that keeps a hold on the round.
Got for a second there. It was a 1v1 after that kill came through. Well traded out. T1 take the site yet once more, and Guts Gaming need to find the next one to go into the second half with a bit of a lead. That is definitely something they will be looking for. Master bedroom is where we seem to be going. Gonna be seeing a quick reconnect from Europe potentially to come through due to a small is it misconvenience?
An inconvenience, I
there
suppose,
we go, yeah.
or a bug.
I didn't want to say it.
Okay, well, I mean, they said it in all chat.
It.
Yeah, so we're just going to have a very quick technical pause just before the turn of the half, and hopefully we'll be able to get ourselves back into this. But as you said, there is the possibility now that Guts can push themselves towards having a better half. The site that we've now seen them lock in twice has been the same site. They haven't been able to take a successful defense on any other site. So are they going to stretch themselves? Are they going to potentially play one that we haven't seen, the only one being the basement? Or are they going to try and double down a hold on the top? Because to be fair, I mean, one of them came down to a 1 versus 1 on the hold, and they are playing sharp. They have been close. It's not that they've been entirely sideswept.
See, that's the whole thing. They're always close to getting these rounds, and if they always get these rounds, then they would have had a win by now, right? That's literally it with T1. They get so close, but unfortunately, they lose it out in the end. Just 1 times or 2 times too many, and that leaves them into a spot where they're fighting for wins still. Something they haven't really been able to find. Just a singular one over 3 stages, and it was an overtime win at that. We're missing someone from...
I was PJH.
Okay, yeah.
I was working out there and I
So
was
this
like...
is 9 people.
Like, he's gone. You can technically see him. He's in the back of Crazy Boy's camera.
True.
He's still here.
He's still here. Just
PJH is still here.
his back to the camera.
Yeah. There he is.
There he is.
Cool. Nice.
I like production playing around with these cameras.
Oh, look at production. I mean,
They're just swiping.
it's like the technology that we have. Unbelievable. We'll be back in at the turn of the half so far. And I think Guts are pretty confident. They're smooth sailing. I think their holds are working very well. And they've set themselves up for the control of the trades very well. Especially, obviously, Mariu, who twice was able to sort of strike back instantly after someone was dropped. It's something that they've done very well. And if it's anything, if there's sort of a detriment to what we've seen from a lot of the teams in this league, or the mistakes, one of the most common mistakes we see is not really holding on to trades.
Yeah.
It's sort of slipping through.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Trades are so important because if you lose someone and you're not able to respond straight away, you're in a disadvantage for the rest of the ground, because they're going to be able to put 2 people where you can only put 1, for example, and continue that trade game in their advantage. So it's going to be a bit harder. Back in the day, I believe numbers were around 70 to 80% harder on for the team that lost it. So more success for the team that managed to get the first frag without it being traded out. So that is something to keep in mind. T1, of course, has 2 rounds. Mariu being this effective in their trading is really going to be helping Guts Gaming across the line potentially here. As a quick spot is being made, I believe, to hide the Electro Claws. Yeah, there it is. Trying to get it in the beam. Makes it harder to destroy from below.
That's it, dug in, and did it catch the wall on the left as well? It did. It got both of them, and this is the response to the way they played the ace against the mute. And that's one of the things I quite like about T1, is we're seeing
that one as well, actually.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing a lot of change based on how they're suffering.
Oh.
Hey, remember this before? Oh, we're seeing change. They're responding to the pulls by Guts Gaming. At this point, previously, they'd already lost somebody and half of his health just for being with that breaching charge. This time, not only have they been able to get some revenge, and not only have they repositioned their utility to make that ace approach much tougher, they got rid of Mariu.
Yeah, they did get rid of Mariu, who we just praised for being this effective with trading out these players. But good call here from T1, just putting up that Nitro. You knew exactly what they were going to do, and with this, you pick up the kill. You know, the window is still opened up, but do you really care that much about it when you pick up Mariu right at the start? It's going to be the Ashgon as well, so it's going to be even harder now for Guts Gaming to destroy these Electro Claws. So a push almost seems to have to come through these choke points, or maybe even from Solarium on.
The drone buried in the plants is going to see if it can find a way to slip through. PGH pulls himself back, escapes out of there and slips his way up as the push starts to come in from underneath. Trophy has fallen under their control and they go back to the grenade game, seeing if they can get rid of the shield first of all, and they do. This is how they went for their original attack, but last time they had at least 1 more body, and you can again see more of an awareness. They're keeping a hold on the cross over the back where we saw them position on those piano windows and on the bathroom window, and that's going to mean that their approach is going to be much trickier.
It depends. Is there going to be a castle barricade down at the very same door we've seen twice now? Yes, it has been. So it's still going to be hard to stop a plant from potentially happening as JJ gets healed back up. Yura tries to take the gunfight, takes it first, brings it back to a 4-on-4, and the opening will be coming through with the Selmas here. Hoping to create another opening, another potential for a plant as a grenade. That might be ending 11 here if it flies in. There it is, right on point. The Crazy Boy, in the meantime, will be able to pick up 1, but Yura trades him out.
Fanxi is going to be the next to try and step into the fight, just sprays through as they looked away, but with that soft connector between the pair of them, it's such a dangerous angle. PJH leans into it, can't quite get the connection. Lillian Light for 1 apiece, and Gut for the 4-2 half.
Yeah, still managed to get it there just on the back of getting these entries and, you know, finding multiple angles to work with. Really just crossing up and dividing the map amongst their own. It was a good adaptation, though, twice from T1. First of all, the Electric Claws hidden inside to make it harder to open up from the library, but also, second of it, was going to be the Nitro on the window, which they managed to catch off Mariu with. So I like to see the adaptations. Unfortunately, it didn't result into a round this time because Guts Gaming, well, I don't want to say it, but maybe a little bit like CAG was last stage. They just win all their gunfights at this very moment. It's very hard to win a one-on-one gunfight because you're not given any.
That's it. That's entirely it. Is they're making sure that they have something to support them. And if it's not a player with the drop of Mariu like that, it is an E1D. It's a call. It's a control of audio. They're really working and blending the utility well. If I'm going to compliment how T1 responded to what Guts Gaming were doing, you've got to look at what Guts Gaming were doing to cause so many problems. Every plant pretty much was covered by audio of something, with an ability or with gunfire, just to make sure that they could keep T1 guessing. And that communication, that... Oh, there it is. What?
Interesting. Okay.
I have not seen that one.
I've not seen that one either. I'm not quite sure how it happened either. Either way.
Neither is Mariu.
He was also quite surprised about it. I'm wondering if it's going to be catching someone off, of course. Starts beeping without them finding out.
Well, I think...
They're close. It's a rush.
Yeah.
It's a rush, and that will start beeping, actually. No, well, no, he just runs in, but it's killed the one to come in. But they're in the middle of the site now. Arakaze looking to find the plot to plans. Manages to get one through the smoke as well.
Well, suddenly they're going to see if they can stick it. Light is waiting for some light to clear over the gap in the cover, but it's 11 with that sharpness. Yura swings round, takes the first fight, puts himself in a 2 versus 1 post plant. Crazy Boy is on half health, so it won't take a huge amount to kill him, but there's not a huge amount of bullets in that gun. That's the worry, and that's the panic right now for Yura, as he knows where both of them are, but collecting that as a kill and taking one fight leading into the next is the big danger. Goes through rotation, tries to find a new angle and approach, sprays through on the pings, can't quite get the connection. We can see now that they've both doubled up inside the fireplace. They're going to make sure that whatever happens, it's 2 versus 1. The swing, the pepper, the pre-fire, the nomad.
Don't respond to it. Okay, I was going to say, Crazy Bird responds to it to the end there. The air jab really saving the round and the rush working out here, but not quite surprised when we didn't see the double collapse down onto that one air jab. And then Quick Rush being successful there. Still losing some members along the way, but they weren't quite ready for it on Guts' side. And T1 to pick up a single round for now. Puts themselves up to 4-3. Still in the fight for this game. Master Bedroom coming up next. Not going down to Bar Gaming yet once more. Of course, we will potentially, next time they go there, see an easy counter on a frost mat down on those windows to make sure that if someone jumps in, that's one card off.
It's one of those, it worked once.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to be trying it again.
You're probably not going to be, but I guess that's the risk of those plays, is you never expect the first, because it's possible to know when one of those could happen. The second, you always technically sort of expect it because it's happened, but again, that expectation of will they, won't they, is still always present. It's just an awareness of, and most importantly, the call of they're rushing now will be responded to much quicker. They've been hit with a little bit of a rush, and now their body knows how to defend against it.
Also try and speed up or compromise on 1 or 2 shotgun holes to make sure people are into their positions a little bit earlier to stop these things from happening. Still a very good response we saw there. They managed to pick up some kills, but they were literally into the site within a second or 2. It's hard to respond to in that case, unless like 2 or 3 people are watching it happen. Either way. Guts Gaming still in the lead. Just a singular round now. T1 have managed to at least grab a little bit back. I have to be careful though, because Yura might be going for a bit of a run out here.
11? I'm not sure if he
heard
that. Well, he's not going to go for a run out just yet. They're going to hold in, smash the window. There it is. The glass is a very audible sound. It's very directional, and now as 11 swings around, he's going to see if he can catch them out potentially. They'll both be well aware that somebody is that close. I mean, 11's
double.
The gambit, but it's Arakaze that hops up over the top. Again, it was good positioning from 11. He waited for someone else to be there. 2 showed up.
Yeah.
And that means that if they had lost the first fight, they would have been able to get the trade.
A bit opportunistic from Yura there to try and pick up a opening kill like that. Especially with the amount of patience that 11 had. Just calling over his teammate Arakaze. Has really been doing quite well for T1 here. Picking up 10 kills so far. Able to pick up the kill onto Yura as well, the opener of this round. Mariu continues to roam around and flank and try and find a good position where he can strike from eventually. It's a wrapping to give something away, but the E1D does not.
Yeah, Mario's just sort of exploring. He's keeping a bit of a prowl down underneath. He's seeing if he can push at the right time. But with all of this cover and all of this concern, it's not really anything he can feasibly do. Luckily, he's aware of this. That's the main part right now, is with the pings and with the pops and the drone, especially the hot ping that came through as he tried to swing up the snowmobile stairs. That's what Crazy Boy's trying to get the lock-in.
Left one has been opened up, a right one. Depends on where you're looking from, and that means an opening will be in. He will need to pop as well. Will provide a little bit of cover. No one instantly going for a bit of a swing, and Crazy Boy now finds out at least one is below, so we don't really have to worry about that one, but it is still going to be a C4 operator. That could be quite dangerous. Fancy, in the meantime, looking to find a way in, I believe. Or now that's the balcony. Might be going in from the door here. Has that diffuser in hand, of course. Oh, it's PGH now.
Well, Fancy's, yeah, he's just holding close on the balcony door to see if he can apply some pressure onto anyone that gets a little bit too wide. And he just saw the end of an Aruni, but she got that revenge sprayed back, and they finally find the body balance. The pressure starts to come through. Trying to build themselves towards the half-full plant as Arakaze leads in with the first and the second. Gets himself a triple for the round. Now with a bit of a longer range spray, Mary's trying to get some awareness on the rotation coming in from behind him, but he's suddenly the only one left. Bit of a ring around the rosies, but it goes Crazy Boy's way, and T1 bring themselves level.
And suddenly it's 4-4, and suddenly it looks like T1 might be able to pick up a full-on win here because, well, to be fair, Guts Gaming first round didn't stand much of a chance on the rush that came through from T1. And right now, well, they got outplayed. They got up the pie well, and T1 managed to get these frags when they were necessary. And even though Maryu managed to find a beautiful one, it's now going to be a tactical timeout. Guts Gaming will be calling it. Realize as well they need to bring it back, need to bring it into their advantage. And well, sometimes this little talk you get with the coach and your team is all that they need to get everything sorted.
It's very good. As said about T1 sort of attacks, that they can be a good attacking team. I love that they're sort of compartmentalizing all of the aspects of Guts' defense. They went and they entirely focused. As soon as they got the read that somebody was in the little jump out, whatever that call out for that room is. What is the call out for that room? The tiny little box?
I think it's
the mud room.
Yeah.
Mud room. I always confuse because Villa's got a mud room as well.
You know, when I used to play, we would used to call it useless.
Well, that's the thing, because the call that I know for it,
we have
swear
Pikachu
words.
Okay.
Because anyone who's in there.
Okay, yeah, no,
So
I get it.
yeah. But mudroom.
Yeah.
In the hop out of mudroom, but three of them. The point is that three of them went to clear that. They made sure that they paid focus to what they could control on. Then there was a lot of attention on the possibility of a roam to make sure, like all of them went for the security of getting box open. And then once they had box, then suddenly they repositioned, and the only person that was downstairs to try and hold off was their Nomad, Crazy Boy, which is fine and fair and what you're supposed to do in that situation. But it's a really good, as I said, compartmentalizing. They're breaking it down. They're looking at the aspects of Guts Gaming hold that they can take apart, and then they're doing it.
Very strong attack here from T1. Going to kitchen dining, the tertiary side from Guts Gaming, and they've won not a single one yet. So let's see how T1, if they will be able to pick this apart. Because if they do, Guts might be in a bit of an issue here. Might have a bit of trouble. Because then suddenly they need to try and figure out ways to counter these setups that T1, these executes that they go for. And they would then be quite effective. Now, 11 not having the best of the games. He, of course, was, you know, made out to be one of the best players on the team. He still is, but since the roster changes, it's actually Arakaze that surprises me quite a bit. And Crazy Boy has been able to pick up quite a few kills here as well. T1 definitely have the potential to finally get that full-fledged win, because they haven't been able to find a single one yet this last year.
Wow, more E1Ds, and it's the consistent hum and purr that has been kind of dangerous to every single defense that it's gone up against, and it's just been used slightly differently, I think, in T1's favor. They're using it more as you would expect a traditional line to be used, to try and hunt people down, to try and lock them off.
Yeah.
It is once or twice used on moments to cover potential movement, but more as a, I think, as a second thing. Whereas the drive for Guts Gaming was, we're using this to cover a plant sound, we're using this to cover the control of this room and this room and this room. They weren't looking for kills behind it, per se.
Oh, for sure. Bit of droning coming out on the top floor. One player in the box. There's going to be two in the back of Solarium. Lily is downstairs, so potential rush could be inbound as well if they figure out there's only one person on site. It's JJ right behind the shield. That's all the cover they have. Potentially some verticals as well, but I'm not quite sure how effective they will be. And surely this shield will be taken care of as soon as possible, but potentially with a grenade to fly over the top of it, because I'm not sure if there's going to be any ADSs in that position.
They're steadily able to get an idea of the table, and with nobody up in box, if they get that security, it's only really JJ in the position over the shield that can try and cause some problems here. Sure, they could extend their way back round and
It is just JJ.
go for a little bit more pressure, but they've got a very heavy hold here on the back line on Trophy. And there is a great opening take. PGH puts the pressure on, and you're sort of hoping that Guts Gaming go for a bit of a rotation. Now, we have seen takes here fall apart. We saw a fantastic behind-the-scenes video of Canadian calling the hold as the push came. But will it be a similar story here for Guts Gaming, who have lost that wall, lost a bit of the control of the site, and now 30 seconds, it's down to T1 to put the pressure to see if they can gain the lead.
See, JJ is truly the only one who can really stop this plant from happening. Lily now needs to come in as Arakaza gets another kill. PGH goes through with the plant, and Lily tries to sneak through the smoke. A grenade flies by, won't be able to get anything, but he's one of the last two members left. It's going to be the plant to go down. He managed to pick up one, goes for the second and gets that as well. But a swing comes around the corner, and it's going to be 11 to pick up that very final kill. And T1, well, does it seem like Guts might have been having a very good attacking half right here? They're definitely stepping it up, winning all three sites that Guts have brought so far, and take the lead, more importantly, pushing it up to 4-5. I said how next week could be decisive for the victory, but if T1 are able to snip points away here from Guts Gaming, they might just already miss it.
There just wasn't really much of an adaptation there from Guts. They sort of, you know, T1 were able to get pretty standard holds in. They were able to get pretty standard control. They took care of the wall that you want to try and get the diffuser down behind the dining table. They did standard plays, and they did them well, sure. But Guts Gaming didn't try and bite back. There was nobody above box that was causing problems, which is the standard way for a lot of teams to sort of bite back. And sure, it was soft, so it's not the most confident, but you have to look at being aggressive on Chalet. You can't just hand territory over, because in that situation, when you're in those sort of flat firefights,
Arakazi,
I mean, attackers also usually have better scopes, sharper guns, and they've got Arakazi right now.
and that drone that he has set up inside of the bar, that is most likely the reason why they have been able to go for the rush the last time around, and it's in the exact same position again, only spotting a singular player. I don't want to say this could be another rush, but if you're just putting JJ on the site, still reinforcing with the action phase already starting, this can potentially lead into becoming another rush here if they are feeling fancy for it. Of course, a bit fancy on the team. Now, do see some pressure coming from the top here, so they are taking it a little bit slower compared to before. Again, I'm just saying it, just JJ on the side. It's literally the only one.
Now, Light is playing on the far side. There is no immediate pressure coming through, and this is one of those things that I sort of said about T1 is they can sometimes be a bit slow on the bigger, chunkier maps, but you don't really have to do that for your takes on Chalet. Sure, you can have some clarity, but the way it all sort of connects to each other is if you can get these crux core holds, you force Guts Gaming to have to pull back, which thankfully they're doing, because previously they didn't do this. They didn't try and reassert themselves on the site when things started to slip away. Almost caught. The spray through will be revealed by the E1D and leans into every bit of aggression. You can see now there's a body on the piano window that hits them just as they slide past. Can't quite get the connection, and that's a bit of a lockout there. Crazy boy. He's injured though. He doesn't have the support of somebody. The C4 doesn't quite go through by the looks of it, so they're going to wait. The flashes are trying to blind them off as Euro's just going to hold in, but Light knows they can't really go for the pressure control. Meryu going for a big rotation around Solarium stairs, but it's finally locked off. This puts Meryu in a bit of a situation now because he can pull the pace back, slow down, and wait to see if he can apply the pressure back here as those flank drones get set up.
Of course, there's some air jabs as well. The question, however, will be how effective are they and where have they been placed? Is Meryu going to be able to sneak by and pick up a kill? No, Crazy Boy's on the flank watch there. Actually spots out the player and calls it out as Fancy and PGH both pick up a single kill. Lily offside, Meryu offside. They need to try and fall back as quickly as they can because otherwise this is just going to be another collapse and another plant to come through without a single player being there to try and contest it. And as they're both trying to make their way back, Lily goes for a bit of a flank and manages to pick up at least one kill.
Well, at least one, but suffered quite a lot for it between him and Mariu. They barely have the health of one player, and there's 4 that they still have to go through. 11 takes the next fight, doesn't quite get it locked off. Mariu is injured yet again. But with 45 seconds, it's more than enough time for T1 to start the plant, get it covered, and go for the swing on the default drop just behind double window on Billiards. The pop around the corner and the spray does connect. Lily gets one more for the tally and puts himself into a 2 versus 1. Crazy Boy is massively injured as well. So it will just take a stray bullet to end the firefight between those two. The drop on the drone and the swing round. He's on your close right behind the table. Just saw him, but can't connect it. T1 put themselves on map point.
Oh, he literally just went on his drone and got off and managed to get the shot eventually. And map point, as you said, 2 map points even for them to play with. And right now, it is looking good for T1. Are we going to see their first full-fledged win with all 3 points on the board for them? Or is Guts Gaming going to be able to bring it back? Because they do not want to lose points at this stage in the stage. This stage in the stage.
This stage in the stage.
There's no other way to put it.
No?
This phase in the stage, maybe. Either way, 6-4. And T1 are looking so good on their attacks right now. Or is it Guts Gaming looking very weak on their defenses? It's maybe a combination of the 2 of them. But, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just have to perfect it. And T1, what they do, pretty standard. But they're doing it very well at this very moment.
Why do you think Chalet? I think it just plays well into what T1's good at. It plays well into this sort of small area crowd control game. Because, you know, as I said a couple of times, they can be slow on their attacks, but they're thorough and they're good when they have that idea of control. The worry is when time gets a bit tight, sometimes they can get a bit stressed. Here, they're taking control of what they need to. Guts Gaming is trying to go for this wide game that T1 is just playing their own game. They're playing their own pace, they're pushing towards it, and Guts Gaming frequently are finding themselves having to realign themselves, finding themselves having to try and rebuild and restructure and pull back, and suddenly they're being cut off. And you'll see all these mute jammers, these pests, these whatever on the other side of the map that just aren't being touched by T1 because they just don't care about that territory.
Would you have remembered that at the start of this very stage, T1 also started off in this exact same map against Fnatic and got 0-7? Because there's nothing that currently indicates that. As they are making sure that they have the opportunity to go for the full 3. At least picked up a singular point already. Puts them on to 5 in total, I believe, over this stage, this season. Of course, they're already facing the relegations. There's no way around that. They are stuck inside of it. But at least they have the opportunity to go out with a bang and even put Guts down just a bunch. With Mantis, of course, being one of the best hopes currently of APAC to go up to the 6th Invitational. APAC North, that is. They will be clapping in their hands right now, being very happy with what they see from T1.
Now, as Lily is trying to get a bit of an angle here on the body above the double window there, just desperately, hoping that the sliver of a helmet or a head falls into view and they can take it off the top of the castle, but they're not quite going to hand it over. Instead, the pressure starts to come here towards JJ on the top of the rafters. It's a power position that they're going to try and root him out of as Yura actually leans in, takes the fight and wins it. Big important moment here as Guts Gaming's finally able to properly take this first firefight clean. JJ locks it off for the second. Suddenly they've been able to get 2 very important kills in a row. Now, PJ slips his way in. Takes a bit of controller library here under the cover of the E1D. They have the pings and the cams and the ideas on where the pressure's coming from. But because of the work that was done there in the swing round from the top of the blue stairs, they're still able to play the pillar.
Seems that they are starting to push in, and Arakazi will be able to pick up the first quite cleanly. Second as well, still more than half HP. Plenty of work left to do as they still need to go all the way down towards the master bedroom. But with a minute left on the clock, it's a 3-on-3 situation. There is going to be 3 smoke canisters. There is going to be 2 yokais they need to deal with. But at this very moment, they are on point with their gun skills, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to go for the kills instead. At this moment, drones are being taken care of. Fanxi is taking point, looking to try and find the first. Of course, using that 417. It's a big DMR that deals, I believe, 46, no, even more, 74 damage, I believe, per shot on base, meaning it's a 2-shot kill anywhere on that body. Just trying to make use of it. Has been able to put up quite a bit of damage already, just not the kills for now.
30 seconds, more than enough time for the 2 more remaining canisters to make sure that the box stays entirely smoked. PJ is going to have to try and hard run this all the way to the other wall, but with the Echo drone giving the read and the beat on everything they're doing, it comes to Fanxy pushing around on the back, drops the smoke, but the Echo drones are still in play. They have to push. Merryu's pulled himself back. He's playing ring around the rosies. He has nowhere to go. Drops the first, goes to the drone, tries to find it, can't connect with the roof. The diffuser is planted. A 2 versus 1 clutch now for Merryu to try and pull this back in. Sees the first slip by, takes the fight, can't connect yet again. Suffers massively for it. Narakaze is still standing with PJH, full health. Use the drone to try and get a bit of a read on the hold that they're doing. Tries to find the way through, but with one holding from one side, the ping hops them out onto the balcony. The second, they might be able to try and isolate a 1 versus 1. They do not have much time. 17 seconds to take the first fight. Goes for it, can't get the connection. They're not over-peaking or over-swinging. They're playing this perfectly. Back on the side, they can get there in time. He's going to play around with it. He has no other option. He has lost it, unfortunately, but fortunately for them, T1 secure points.
Oh, look at how happy they are. This is their first win of 3 points, Emmy, in this entire year. And we've been saying it on the desk. We can feel it coming. It seems like they're almost there. It's just a matter of when will it be here. And they managed to finally find it. T1 pick up the full 3 points here and